everyone again. So I just had a conversation, more of a listening conversation with someone very dear to me. And I feel a little bit zapped. Um, I feel like my body is just having a hard time taking in the information, and I know that when I become um, kind of zapped of energy. I feel it a lot in my head, and I can just feel it in my body. It's very interesting. I've had these physical symptoms since I was a little girl. It's just kind of um, transferred into my adult life because of my childhood circumstances, and I rarely come across them, but I feel that coming back, and I'm kind of a little. It's actually making me question my field because someone very dear to me is going through something, and I perhaps it's because this person is close to me, and um, this is not a family member, by the way, um, which is a little coincidental. But I want to talk about today the past and how important the past is or can be if we allow it to lead to answers or decode who we are or what we're doing in the present moment. And I find that so many individuals, when they begin to talk, they are never expressing how they are feeling or being in the present moment. It's something that happened in the past. It's something that made them feel a certain way in the past, a joke that was passed on at work, something that happened at work, goals that they have into the future. It's never about connecting into what is now. And it's as if we have three different forms of ourselves. Well, essentially two, because we're not looking into what is right now. And I believe the more that we strive to look into the future so much, not even for happiness, but just kind of looking at that, we live in that constant moment and looking into the past of what has happened. Usually the past is not good. When we ruminate and think about the things in the past, they trail into what is now. And so many individuals harbor these feelings, they keep them inside, and when a situation occurs, they use the same cognitions and behaviors that trail into the present moment, or even resort to being numb and don't do anything. And the change is going to happen when we experiment a little bit and when we play with our ideas of perception and our feelings. And taking on so much of what has happened into the past does not allow us any freedom. It locks us into a niche and a way of thinking and a way of being that is non-existent anymore. It no longer is. And if we can learn that our past shapes us, yes, but it does not have to be us. And if it is a fantastic past, and if it is a very healthy one, let that form into the present. But we also cannot associate that healthy past to the present, because what is what is in the moment. And if it is healthy, this is going to be a positive aspect in your life, right? So why disregard the past if it's going to be positive? I'm talking about if the past is bringing in pain and suffering and feelings, negative feelings. And once we can learn to detach ourselves from the object or the person that made us feel this way, it's going to allow a lot of freedom. But in this process, there's a lot of anger and a lot of sadness and frustration and disconnection and feeling resentful. But I feel like a lot of people get locked in that stage, and that's how they that's how they move through life, is being locked in that stage. And there is no freedom that comes with that. There are no whole beings. And I feel like we become whole beings a fake form only through goals, and by okay, tomorrow's another day, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to knock out all these things to do. I'm going to do this. And this is productive, but is it productive for self? Or is it a distraction? If you are a healthy self and you have these goals, there is a different form of being. There is a different energy. There is a feeling of true self. There is pure happiness versus I am just being and I can't cope with my own feelings. I don't even know what I want out of life. I don't know how to deal with the past. I don't know how to deal with my present emotions. So I'm going to create these to-do lists. Can we understand the difference that there is a whole self of motivation and there is a half self of motivation and being distracted? So diving in to who we are, completely vulnerable and naked, is a burden. It requires a lot of strength, and strength that most of the time we don't think that we have. But I can promise you, the negative feelings that we have allowed to override can be quite the opposite with positive feelings. And this is what separates individuals that are very low and individuals that are very high, if they are in their truest form of feeling connected and whole to their selves. And it is very, very hard to not live in the past, because we feel like this holds a lot of who we are. Who I was back then is so hard to let go of, because it shapes everything that I believe in and everything that I am and everything that I feel, because we embrace what we know and we fear the unknown. So what is more easier to grasp onto? The past. And the future holds endless possibilities. So that's why we look into the future, because there's hope. But there is everything that is now in you. It's just about learning to accept everything and creating no judgment on others and having an open heart to whatever life throws at you. And this leads to so much enrichment and so much fulfillment within. And the more resistant that we are to anything, if we feel some sort of conflict or resistance inside, we have to really say and be cognizant of, I'm resisting this. Let's try a different way. Because this is only creating those feelings within ourselves, right? It doesn't matter about the other person. It doesn't matter about what this person did to me. It doesn't matter how this person made me feel. And taking these feelings, these sort of negative feelings with us, and when we form new relationships, we somehow just want to forget. We somehow don't want to see that and take that with us and say, hey, I'm aware of that. It doesn't work for me. And I don't like it, but it's a part of me now. And I've learned from it. And I know not to do A, B, or C. Or I know not to react a certain way. I know that certain feelings inside aren't good for my health. Because essentially, this is all about you and being happy within. And once that is there, it just, it's endless, the amount of love and the amount of freedom. It's like you're no longer a prisoner of your own thoughts, and you're no longer a prisoner of other people's expectations. And it requires a lot of alone time, and it requires a lot of separation from an old self or a future self. And I would like to know what past incidents are really hindering your future ones, are really stunting them. And it's not even about letting the other person know that you've forgiven them or letting the other person know. It's about being healthy within, and having any sort of conflict within is natural and healthy, but living in them is not going to lead to fulfillment and is not going to lead to healthy life. And it's kind of a surreal feeling. I still feel sad, and I still feel happy, and I still feel angry, and I still get those feelings, but they don't rule me anymore. It's like uh, it's like I'm outside in nature and I hear a bird chirping, and if I feel like it's the most beautiful sound in the moment, I take it in and I let it go. I appreciate it for what it is in the moment. And this goes with good and bad feelings. We cannot sit and dwell in the bad feelings for a long time, because they become us, and they shape the way that we think, and they shape the way that we behave, and the way that we just are. And it was necessary to be in a state of sadness and loneliness to come out of it. And I still get moments of loneliness, but we are human, and we have to realize that we can either have a mediocre life, a decent life, or a fulfilling life. It's just, it's so important for us to be healthy in that way, and disconnecting from the pain that's brought into from the past into the present is just one way of coping and one way of transcending what has happened. So my video for today would be, or the overall message is, what's keeping you from letting go of the past? Are you distracted? Are you avoiding? Are you in the process of figuring it out and you don't know why? You see your patterns, you see your behaviors, and you need more help or more guidance or more answers. And let me tell you, that is a fantastic start if you're there. That is, if we can really see and understand our patterns, we begin to accept what has happened or what has been causes pain in the past. And we may need to sit in our patterns, and we may need to hurt ourselves a little bit and hurt other people in the process, as unfortunate as it sounds. But we can't change unless we experiment, right? We can't change unless we do something different, unless we try something new. If we have always been doing something the same way and get the same results that we don't like, then we need to change something, right? So we have to figure out ways that are going to help ourselves transcend above past emotions and past behaviors. And we have to adopt suitable ones that are applicable for what is now and what is in the present moment. Because we are fearful. Fear has been programmed into our brain as a way of keeping out of danger. That's all it is. We have somehow adopted this through previous generations because we were out in the wild, and fear was a way of fight or flight response, was a way of saying, hey, I'm in danger, someone's here, something bad's gonna happen, boom, let's get out of the way. But now we just sit in those thoughts and they just accumulate within us. And if we can see our present form right now and see our thoughts in a bubble, is our physical body really in danger? Are we really in harm? Am I really out in the jungle fighting for my life? No. So the idea of fear is just an illusion. It's looking into the future, it's just fearing things. And fear can actually be motivating. Fear can actually be, we can actually be seen this as a challenge. Like, F you, I'm going to take you head on and do this. But we have to be able to see it as a challenge, and we have to perhaps condition ourselves to see it as a challenge. And I know when we fear things, we get that little flutter of anxiety. We get that little, it might be different for everyone, but I know that my heart just races like crazy when I'm extremely fearful, when I'm fearful of giving a presentation, when I'm scared of going into the unknown. I just get like this body rush, and some people might get stomach aches or get dizzy, or it's all different for everyone. But knowing that the life that has been created for us right now, we are not in any danger, and we are not living in a past tense anymore. I am talking to you right now, not when you were a child, and not when you're going to be 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. I'm talking to you right now. So one way to reconnect for me is through the beauty of nature. People have different forms. People meditate. People go on bike rides. They paint. But find ways to connect and find ways to not distract, because looking into the past is a distraction into growing now. So the challenge is to challenge your thoughts and to see what in the past and what has happened in the past is constantly coming up. Well, why did he do this? I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the more that we can empathize with the other individual, and the more that we can see things from their perspective. Sure, there may be justifications, but the more that we can understand that they are human too, and that they are not doing anything deliberately to hurt you. People just have different ways of coping and different ways of dealing with life. That no one is perfect, and we make our mistakes, and we just have to accept that and take that on. So that's my message for today. It's like 2:30 in the morning and I couldn't sleep, so I just wanted to do this video about thinking in the past. Alright, thanks loves, and I will probably see you soon. Bye.